and Reed later on today. So you got to watch that. But right now he's on with me, Lev Parnas, if you know, is the editor of the Lev Remember Substack. Also was a former Trump fixer. And by fixer, folks, I mean, I think people, even sometimes me, Lev, I kind of forget how knee deep you were in the Trump world, how you were like an enforcer, how you were all in, you had the wool over your eyes. You truly believed Trump was the guy. You were MAGA through and through. You bled MAGA, and then you paid for it. You went to jail. You came out, and you have decided then, all right, let me make amends and take this guy out. And your son, Aaron Parnas, now apparently is the go-to guy for so many people for these great quick news hits. One of these days, I'll get Aaron on, or vice versa.
I
But
wanted to
I
get
just
you on. We missed you yesterday. I was trying to get you
uh,
on yesterday. I had Aaron.
I missed the text.
Trust me, watch. It takes me so much. When I got him on, and he said that's why I called you right away. I said he's going to be,
It's fine.
but
It's
next
fine.
time.
But I was just telling Lev, we were supposed to take today off, and then Lev's been on for 5 hours straight, and then we got him on at 5:13 because folks who haven't followed the news, very quickly, we'll set the stage. I'll give it over to Lev. Trump has been named several times in Epstein emails that were dropped by the House Democrats today. They had a tranche of documents given to them by the Epstein estate. Jeffrey Epstein's brother has long said that he thinks that his brother's death was not suicide. What we have said, and I said this, Lev, and I think you might agree with me, and I doubled down on this earlier today with my conversation with Danielle, is we're witnessing the biggest political cover-up in modern history. The Wall Street Journal has said that Pam Bondi told Donald Trump that he was in the Epstein files. Trump lied about it. Ghislaine Maxwell. The question that needs to be asked is, how did this woman, who is serving a 20-year sentence, who is a sex predator, get a never before heard of transfer to a minimum security camp, where reports came out that just this week that she's now looking for a commutation. Donald Trump partied with Epstein. Everyone knows about it. Audio tape released by Michael Wolff, yeah, where he has hundreds of hours of conversation with Epstein. Epstein said he was Donald Trump's closest friend. There's videos of them. They chase girls together. Donald Trump referred to Virginia Giuffre as property. He stole property from me. He bragged about grabbing women by the pee. He's been held liable for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll. Jeffrey Epstein got a sweetheart deal in 2008. Alex Acosta, the prosecutor, of course, becomes labor secretary for Donald Trump. And then, as everyone knew, this guy was a pedophile, a raper of girls. 2019, all of a sudden, when Donald Trump was president, that's when he gets arrested. And then when he dies, we just found on CBS recently, they released all these photos, a complete mismanagement of his murder slash suicide scene, whatever. The guards weren't interviewed. And then you had whistleblowers saying that Ghislaine Maxwell is getting special treatment, a service puppy. You have other whistleblowers saying they've seen Donald Trump's name all over. Michael Wolff has said that he's seen the photos that Epstein's given him where girls were pointing at Donald's wet crotch, a stain, and smiling more and more. The birthday book, Ghislaine Maxwell's birthday book for Epstein, where Donald Trump wrote that disgusting message to him about secrets, and then the drawing of the nude woman. All of this is coming out. And then today, these emails came out where Jeffrey Epstein told Ghislaine Maxwell in 2011, quote, I want you to realize that the dog, Donald Trump, that hasn't barked yet, right? I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked yet is Trump. Victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never been mentioned. And then you have Michael Wolff in an email strategizing in 2015. That's when Donald Trump was about to become president. And then you had 2019, Epstein tells Wolff, of course, Trump knew about the girls, and on and on and on. And I tried to just encapsulate 20 years in 4 minutes. But Lev, um, oh, breaking news also, Adalita Grijalva finally, after winning her election nearly 2 months ago, finally gets sworn in. Uh, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson could have done it, chose not to do it. And also in August, I want to remind people, Speaker Johnson decided to go on recess early instead of even having a vote on releasing the Epstein files. So to me, all of these people are complicit as F. They know what's up. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, a name you've always brought up, Mike Johnson, Caroline Levitt, Donald Trump. That's my take on this. I've been calling it a cover up. Drip, drip, drip. I don't think he can escape this. Lev, what have you heard?
I love it. I mean, you connected that so beautifully, Waj. It's great. I love listening to you. But let me just put it to you this way. There's even more breaking news I just broke a little right before we went on here is that Donald Trump, and I see that it's spreading like wildfire all over the place, is putting pressure. And there's literally White House meetings going on with Lauren Boebert. There's meetings going on with not Marjorie Taylor Greene directly through
Mace.
intermediaries through her
Okay.
boyfriend. Nancy Mace also correct. There's major pressure that Donald Trump and the White House since the morning, as soon as these emails broke, because there's a lot to unwind. And I'd like, if you want to, we could break each email down. If you want to read each email,
Yeah,
and
let's
then
do it.
break it
Well,
down.
well, before we
Because
do that, talk to us about before we do that. I'm so
yeah,
glad you brought there was so much I just did a top of the head. But Donald Trump, well, I want to actually first, before we read the emails, I want to read Donald Trump's Truth Social post. All right, because
yeah.
to me, first let's read it. I'll give you my analysis. You know this guy, and you tell me if I'm wrong. Donald Trump about 3 or 4 hours ago. Excuse me, no. 11:03 a.m. Donald Trump. The Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown and so many other subjects. Whatever. I'm not interested in that. This is what I'm interested in. Next slide. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into the trap. Later on, there should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else, and any Republican involved should be focused only on opening up our country and fixing the massive damage caused by the Democrats. To me, that's Donald Trump saying, you better stay in line, mother effers. You better stay in line. Now, you know this guy. You translate that post.
I mean, big time. I mean, he's and since the morning, even he started already making the phone calls. Already started pushing people to fall in line, talking about. But now it's gotten to the point where yes, it's because you got to understand it's not just Donald Trump. This is just the tip of the iceberg. You got to remember, because remember, Bannon. We've already heard names like Bannon, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, and there's so many. Just think about the Mellon family donating
Leon Black,
$150 million, Leon
Leslie
Black,
Wexner, Glenn
and,
Dubin,
and also
Andrew, Ehud
Andrew.
Barak.
That's what I'm saying to you. You got you. We there's a treasure trove, and there's another interesting thing I heard from one of my insider sources said that the information that this was going to leak was coming out, and even that's why the British, the monarchy, stripped him 2 weeks ago, and Trump chose not to. Trump chose the dictator route of saying, "I'm going to just push it through," while the monarchy chose to act ahead of the game and strip Andrew because they knew this was coming out and they couldn't stop it.
It was
And
they did it a few days before the publication of this book, Nobody's Girl, Virginia Giuffre, and she names Andrew. She named him in 2011, and right before this book dropped, which I think was 2 weeks ago, they stripped Andrew of his time. Folks, that's huge. If there was nothing to it, if Prince Andrew was to believe that she was just lying and this and that, they would have not stripped him. The fact, I mean, we're Americans, so we don't realize, but in British monarchy, to strip a man of his status like that, that means they have him dead to rights. That means they know that he was a pedophile.
1,000,000%, and that they've evicted him from the castle. I mean, they've literally, got rid of him, and but there's other things that are very, interesting if you dissect those letters and if you take a look at, I mean, the fact that right now, and I put a post on it, that right now that Ghislaine Maxwell is not being remanded and taken to a maximum security prison right the second, because the number one thing we saw in those emails is that she lied. We knew that
Absolutely.
she lied. We knew that she lied. We knew, but right now there should be an uproar of why is she instead of sitting with her. But the only reason they can't do it is because what the other thing I'm hearing, Watch, it's not only she's applying for a commutation, that there's major conversations going on of if she doesn't get this quickly, what's about to come out. Because remember, she was the leak to the Wall Street Journal with that started this whole thing.
Yep.
Why
Yep.
all of a sudden Blanche ran over there. And that's another thing. We should have Blanche right now in front of the committee, in front of the public, talking about what is going on. And that's why the more action we need right now, we need to keep the ball going, because he's going to do everything in his power to shut it down. He's going to try to do right now. I mean, I'll be very honest with you folks. I will be very surprised and very proud of these women. Some of them that I really don't respect because of Nancy Mace, some of the things that she does, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Laura. I mean, but if they hold strong after the pressure I'm hearing he's putting on right now, it's going to be something. But the other thing, what I'm hearing behind the scenes, why this also must be because remember, this is only the first vote. After this, then it goes to the Congress, and then after that, it goes to his desk. So he has still certain plans in place when it comes, because remember, in Congress he has Johnson. He has his own what's it called. The only thing that we have going on our side, that what I'm hearing from a lot of insiders, is that there's a lot of Republicans that if this vote goes to the floor, the floodgates will open up. This is not going to be a small, barely, call. That there's going to be a lot of Republicans that jump on board. Wash.
So a lot to unpack there. Speaking about Ghislaine Maxwell, a question that everyone should ask, and because corporate media is like the dog from Up, they just chase the squirrel, squirrel. Why is Ghislaine Maxwell a sex trafficker, a child predator, right? A child sex offender, a convicted child sex offender in a minimum security camp getting pampered treatment? Who in the Bureau of Prisons authorized Ghislaine Maxwell for the transfer that is never ever given to someone of her status as a child sex offender? Someone high up must have influenced the Bureau of Prison, someone at the Bureau of Prison, to allow her a type of special treatment that has been given to no one else, much like the special sweetheart deal that was given to Jeffrey Epstein in 2008. Secondly, when Donald Trump was asked recently, Lev, I try to keep receipts. He was asked about the Insurrection Act. He didn't say no, which should trouble all of us. I think it's all connected because you have Stephen Miller openly talking about the Insurrection Act, and you have Pam Bondi, who then said, yeah, they're open to using the Insurrection Act. Then they asked Donald Trump. He didn't say no. Right after that, they asked him on camera while he was sitting with his cankles in the White House, will you pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? And he said, huh? Who? Ghislaine? Haven't heard that name in a long time. What? Well, I guess I could, couldn't I, if I wanted to? Huh? He didn't say no. And then we found out this week, as Lev mentioned, that a whistleblower says that Ghislaine's getting special treatment. Everyone's sick and tired of her bullshit. She's getting pampered, service dog, meals. All the other inmates hate her. She's getting high-profile visitors. And she's going to ask him for a commutation. I think she has him dead to rights. We know that, well, we can be very confident that it was the Maxwell estate that released the book. Who else would have the book that confirmed the Wall Street Journal reporting? And furthermore, when it comes to the emails, like you said, it seems that Ghislaine Maxwell lied to Todd Blanche. She perjured herself. And also, why did Todd Blanche go and interview Ghislaine Maxwell? Folks, Todd Blanche is in the Attorney General's office. It should have been this prosecutor, Maureen Comey. Oh, yes, she was fired. And then Todd Blanche, who was Donald Trump's personal attorney, goes and spends 2 days with Ghislaine Maxwell. And less than a week later, surprise, surprise, this convicted child sex trafficker who was serving 20 years gets sent to minimum club fed in Texas. Well, here's one of the emails that was released today, 2011. Epstein emails Ghislaine Maxwell about a victim he claims Trump met at his house. The date is 4/2/2011. Epstein says to Ghislaine, I want you to realize that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim, name redacted, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Ghislaine, I have been thinking about that. ... Lev.
I mean, that's one of the most damning ones out of all of them when it has to do with Donald Trump, because we're going to get to a lot of the emails that have to do other things. But this one, because you got to understand, Donald Trump, first of all, has been running the past several months talking about that he's never been to Epstein Island. Now we have him in Epstein's house. The other thing is, today when Caroline Levitt was asked a question, she was asked about, was this true that Donald Trump? She didn't deny that Donald Trump was in the house with this minor that Epstein was. She said she exposed her by saying it was Virginia Giuffre,
You're afraid.
Giuffre, which, again,
I have
Why?
the quote. Oh, well, I have them.
Okay.
CBS's news correspondent asked, "Did the president ever spend hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house with a victim?" Caroline Levitt, quote, "These emails prove nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong." All right. Other question. Um, Question. Wait, first she said Caroline Levitt claims to that Trump was, quote, always, no, extremely professional while hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. And she looked at her notes. And then finally, check this out. This was really damning. I mean, all of it's damning. As she concludes her press briefing and walks off, Andrew Feinberg asks, quote, "What was the president doing with Virginia Giuffre for hours at Epstein's house?" She walks away without responding.
Exactly. And the key to it also is the conversation because see, I live in that world, so I know a little code language about how people talk, like that mob language or that where you're trying to hit between yourself. So when you got Epstein then telling what's her name? Giselle that I'm 75% there, that's them and she's responding. They're saying that Trump is basically concocting all of this. So because he's being indicted right now at this time because of being with a minor. That same minor that Trump was there, but he's not being brought up in the case. So that's why she goes, and I'm thinking this also. So Donald Trump was also, remember, a lot of there were stories about that Donald Trump might have been talking about Epstein. Well, usually when people go talk is because they want to protect themselves and hide a deal. So what that email shows me and tells me is that they got caught. Donald Trump and Epstein got caught with Virginia, with the minor. And you got to remember a very important thing that at that time, Virginia herself admitted that she was being drugged. She was a minor that was getting drugged, that certain things she remembers, doesn't remember, because they're trying to say, well, she never said Trump did anything. What was he doing for hours in a house that we now place him in a house with Epstein, with a minor for hours, where Epstein now is being indicted for this minor, and he's having a conversation. Well, why isn't Trump being questioned or involved in it?
And also Bondi, Blanche, Patel, all to meet today about the Epstein files. Huh. If there's nothing there, why are they all meeting? And furthermore, another question that was asked of Caroline Levitt: why are White House officials meeting with Representative Bobart in an effort to get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the Epstein files? And Levitt says, quote, "I'm not going to detail conversations that took place in the Situation Room. I mean, a cover-up is supposed to be done with stealth, subtlety. Isn't it supposed to be like clandestine? You're not supposed to like do it out in the open. They're so bad at this. They're doing it out in the open. That's how desperate they are, Lev."
Watch, he flipped. I told you, I wrote about it today. Like if you know Donald Trump, when he flipped, he flipped. Like I'm talking about, literally. I mean, there might have not been ketchup flying around today, but this is a guy that when he flips, there's screaming, there's yelling, there's actual. You know, what I'm saying, get this one, find this one. Why is this not happening? Accountability right away, and this is what I'm saying. When he saw that, remember. Remember that they were supposed to scrub all these things.
Yep.
Remember that. Remember
Yep.
what's it called?
Yep.
They had thousands of FBI agents trying to. We knew the names were there. Just think about how much more stuff and how much more is coming out in the relationship. We've been talking about. We know it, and now the most important thing is we need to stay louder and stronger, folks, because he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that this doesn't get through, that the 218 votes don't pass, then push it because like Waj has been telling you from day one that I've joined this show is this is his kryptonite. This is his kryptonite. The Epstein files, he can't get away from them. And you see what everything that's happening. They might quiet down something else. They change the news. He starts wars, he ends wars, and then the Epstein files just keep coming up. It's like that. You know what I'm saying to you? That's why we got to keep pushing it, and making sure that we keep it in the main circle because there's a lot more, and it's not just Donald Trump. It's not just Donald Trump. There's so many more, and they're right now are these people. Like I'll even give you an example. We should keep an eye on all of these donations that are coming into his ballroom, all of these. I mean, there's a reason people are giving him hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, these people don't give money like that, while at the same time the Epstein files are so hot and they're not being, put away. So Waj, yeah, this is but there's other emails that I want to
No,
dissect
yeah.
because
I'll read them right now. Some of
go
these,
on.
I was Googling all the White House ballroom donors: Amazon, Apple, Booz Allen, Caterpillar, Coinbase, Comcast, Emilia Fanjul, Hard Rock, Google, HP, Lockheed, Meta, Microsoft, Palantir, T-Mobile, Union Pacific,
And
Adelson,
Adelson,
Stephen Brody, Betty World Johnson Foundation, Edward and Sherry Glazer, Harold Ham, Benjamin Leon, Lutniks,
oh,
Laura and Isaac Perlmutter, Stephen A. Shoresman, Konstantin Sokolov, Kelly Loeffler. Oh, remember her, Loeffler?
yeah.
Uh, Tiramani, Winklevoss twins.
Venko was, yeah, again, more big. I mean, I'm saying to you, and it's not just the ballroom; it's all of these other things that when we start looking into, because I mean, you're going to see a lot of ties going into these Zapsify. And the one thing that really also bothered me a little bit about some of these emails is one of those emails with Michael Wolff.
What we're talking about right now.
Yeah, because I,
2015,
huh?
2015,
Yeah, go ahead,
uh,
go ahead.
sorry, 2015, Epstein and Michael Wolff strategize around a Trump media appearance. Epstein, December 15th, 2015. Donald Trump is now running for president. Jeffrey emails Mike, and remember, Michael has been on the show 2 or 3 times, has said that he has over hundreds of hours of conversations uh, taped where Epstein has told him and admitted many sordid details about what him and Trump did in their relationship. So Epstein writes, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? Michael Wolff, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that, when asked, he'll say Jeffrey's a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. Your response?
I mean, to me, that's very troublesome because here you got an open conversation where Wolf is literally counseling, because Wolf is counseling Epstein on how he could use this information. First of all, Wolf is giving Epstein information that the CNN is going to talk about. Second of all, Wolf is now talking about how he could use this to his advantage, which, shows me, I don't know if that crosses the line of their relationship, what kind of relationship were they having, if Wolf is now counseling Jeffrey Epstein of how to use this as a political tool. Then you fast forward and you see, Jeffrey Epstein being indicted under Trump's campaign by Bill Barr, and I want to speak to Michael Wolff. I want to understand, like, why he never spoke about this. Like, I mean, like, why this is some serious stuff. Like, this is prior to, I mean, and we talk about he has hundreds of these voice messages, but why are we not subpoenaing them, releasing them? I mean, I'm not trying to attack Michael Wolff. I don't know him. I've never. It's funny. We were supposed to actually do an interview. I went on when he was doing one with Michael Cohen, and then he said, "Lev, I'd like to do one." I tried to reach out to him first thing in the morning before this even dropped, just to schedule one, and then I haven't heard from him since. And everybody that I've reached out to, he's gone dark completely.
I mean, small world. I interviewed him 2 days ago. And that interview, I thought conversation was very valuable. It was based on not breaking news, but the news that Michael had sued Melania and Trump because they had threatened him with a $1 billion lawsuit last month because they said he made defamatory comments. And what he alleged in his Daily Beans podcast, and what he later told me also, was that uh, Melania and Donald Trump first had sex on Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Express. And he stands by that. And I said, well, who told you that? He goes, Jeffrey Epstein. And Melania didn't like that. So Melania came out last month and threatened him with a $1 billion lawsuit. So he countersued. He did an anti-slap. and then he did a GoFundMe. And I asked him about this GoFundMe, and the question that I asked, because I think it's a legitimate question, is where does the money go? And he said it goes to a trust, and he already has the law firm, and he hired the law firm. And what he wants to do is, says he wants to get Donald Trump and specifically Melania and Ghislaine Maxwell on the record and depose them. So I said, okay, that's great. I'm perfectly fine with that. Now, Michael Wolff, I've interviewed him, I think, 2 or 3 times. Each time I interview him, Lev, I always ask him and or tell him, if people pay attention, hey, maybe it's time to release those files. Why don't you just, why don't you just release the files? Why don't you just publish them? And he always goes, well, I have them, but I just, people need to come. And I'm like, you could just do it. The first time I interviewed him, you could get a website and you could just do it. And the sad part is, and we have to be honest about this, the way the DC works, you know this, uh, it's not just Michael, but it's also Woodward and others, also Maggie Haberman. They sit on scoops, and then when the timing is right, they sell books, they get the money, right? Michael's here, Michael Cohen. He did the same with me. Michael says it, right? So this is what they do, right? The second thing, though, I don't know. I emailed Michael. I don't have his phone number, so I emailed him today also, and I said, Michael, you're all up in the news. Want to come? And if Michael ever agrees to come on with me again, I don't know if he will. I will ask him. I will read that email that I just read, and I said, listen, ethically, this is not a journalism. This is not reporting. This is not transcribing. This is you counseling a known pedophile and on how to use your essentially blackmail type of information to either go after him or protect yourself. Um, I
Yeah.
can only guess. I've asked Michael this also. I said, Michael, are you worried? The second time I talked to him, I asked him, Michael, sitting on this information, could that be an insurance? Because Jeffrey Epstein disappeared, Virginia Giuffre died. You have all this information. Glenn has all this information. So are you sitting on this as a type of insurance for your security and health? And he said, well, I don't even think like that. I don't know. I don't even think like that. So anyway, that's my take on the Michael Wolff of all. I emailed him. I hope he says yes. I want to ask him this. I think this is a very legitimate question to ask and be answered. Your take, Love.
I agree with you. I think that's a very legitimate question. We need to understand it. And you're not the only one that asked them. I've spoken to several people that have asked them the same thing, that but you've written the book already. This is already in this. So this actually would help your book. I mean, this is stuff that, is right now the hottest subject out there. Plus, you'd be helping, a country. You'd be saving, doing a really, really good thing. I mean, just think about, this is what I'm saying to you. And that's upsetting because just think about how much money he raised in his GoFundMe because people but truly believe and think that he wants to do the good thing. And I truly hope that he does the good thing and that they go and release and all of it. But he doesn't need $800,000 to release the records that he has. I mean, he doesn't need to right now. Like he should be, instead of us mourning tonight right now he should be, in all due honesty, that's how I look at it. And he should be right now on Substack, on every, what's it called, releasing more and more of the and saying, yes, this is what it was, this is what we spoke about, and this is what Epstein, this is, and after that Epstein told me this, and this is what he ended up working out with Trump, because listen, it's one thing
To
if
be
you're
fair, fact correction, just real quick, the money is being raised for the law firm that he has retained to depose the counters. Well, the suit he did against the anti-SLAPP suit he did against Melania, and he wants to depose Trump. He says he wants to depose Trump, Melania, even Ghislaine Maxwell, and have them on the record. So the money that's raised, not for releasing the emails, it's for this suit, and he really wants to get Melania. And Melania hasn't asked a lot of questions. That's what he said, and this was all as a result of because Melania threatened him with the lawsuit last month to the tune of $1 billion because they said you're lying. And he said, I'm not lying. Jeffrey Epstein told me the first time Melania and Donald Trump had sex was on the Lolita Express, which also begs the question, how much does Melania know? At the same time, though, that's neither here nor there. That email is very troubling because as a journalist or as a reporter, you know, once you start counseling, I'll read it again, real quick, folks. If we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? And then, Michael said, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house and gives you valuable PR and political currency, you can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks he could win, you could save him generating a debt. Um, Maybe Michael is using Epstein to get to Trump. I think that's also at play here. I don't know. We can only speculate, but Michael should come out today or tomorrow, go on Substack. If you don't want to do an interview, answer these questions. I mean, really answer these questions because it is, at the very least, Lev, it's unethical. And if Michael ever comes on, I'm going to ask him straight up. The third email was Epstein tells Wolff, of course, Trump knew about the girls. So the email goes, Epstein, January 31st, 2019, to Michael Wolff. Victim, name redacted, Mar-a-Lago, name redacted. Trump said he asked me to resign, never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop.
So a few things in that one you could see. First of all, he's saying he was never a member, so he never resigned. Just like I was never a member, Rudy Giuliani is not a member. I'm sure Michael Cohen was not a member. There's certain people that are, when you're very close to Donald Trump, you don't need to be a member. You just, you're like part of the family. You go in there, and it looks like Epstein was very close to Donald Trump not to be a member. So as he says there. Second of all, he's saying to. I'm sorry, my phone is going off there. He's turning around and talking about how Donald Trump knew about the girls and told Ghislaine to stop, which is a big perjury on her part, which she just did with Blanche, because what did she know? She knew that they were going to Mar-a-Lago and trying to pick up these girls and purge them, like Donald Trump himself said. They were trying to steal his property. Remember, he was like on Air Force One. He called it like his property, and that's what they got into a fight with. So it just validates that Donald Trump did know.
Is that the stop? Is that the he about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop? So he was talking about Virginia Giuffre and stealing property.
Yep, that's
So
exactly. If you look
stop
into it,
stealing my girls.
stop stealing my girls, and that's why he's talking about it. And think about who he has to stop. Not Epstein. He asked Maxwell. So that's a very another key part to it. These little things shows you Maxwell's relationships with Trump. Because what people don't really remember and forget, they think it's Epstein and Trump that had the original relation. No, folks. Maxwell had a relationship with Donald Trump going way back before Epstein while she worked for her father when he used to own the Daily News, I think it was, that he owned. And
Yeah.
as a young
Robert
intern.
Maxwell. And then
Right.
Robert Maxwell mysteriously died, drowned, even though he was a great swimmer and he made his money through fraud and also was deeply tied to Israel. Now he's buried on the Mount of Olives. And then after Maxwell died, that money, where'd it go? Oh, well, Glenn was there. And so was Jeffrey Epstein. And then speaking about the foreign ties, Dropsite yesterday came out with these emails of Ehud Barak's aide, who, of course, stayed with Jeffrey Epstein. And Ehud Barak also pictured several times showing up at Epstein's apartment. And in Virginia Giuffre's book, she said there was a prime minister of a foreign country who raped her and assaulted her, also billionaires. And then also Alex Acosta, allegedly, according to the Wall Street Journal reporting, said that one of the reasons why Epstein got a sweetheart deal was because apparently he was intelligence. And you and Zev especially has talked about the Israel connections and the Russia connections, because if Epstein did have all this dirt on people, clearly he did, cameras all around the house, then, any intelligence agency of any country would love that dirt on very powerful people.
Yeah, Zev actually also was trying to reach out to Michael Wolff today because he called me. He was just on with Michael Wolff yesterday, actually, and today he's gone dark. So I think Michael Wolff has a lot of explaining to do, definitely, in about the relationship and the counseling, because that's where it gets a little bit that he's counseling him on how to how to basically extort the next president of the United States. I mean, basically,
That's right.
if you want to really break it down and say, listen, you got this dirt on him, let him hang himself, and once he hangs himself, now and if he wins, you got the president in your pocket.
But why do you think? I mean, again, we don't know. I can ask Michael if he ever comes on again. But why? Why do you think he would do this? Because to me, it seems like his bigger fish is. Sorry, one second. His bigger fish has always been Trump.
I mean, we got to see more of the emails. If there's maybe more emails where they're trying to maybe set Trump up, maybe if that's the case, I mean that's only one email, but from just the context of that email and from I think speaking to Zev today, we did a special and Zev mentioned that actually that Michael Wolff said that he's had prior business relationship with Epstein, that they've done business together, and so even Zev told me that he has some questions for him because of that email, because that email really shows you that that's a very personal relationship when you're speaking about such a powerful move, when you're talking about the next president of the United States, when you're talking about stuff about that you could use as your tool. I mean, very, very, very powerful. I think if put it this way, if Michael Wolff was not the guy right now suing Melania, I think the story would be a lot different. Right now, I think a lot of people are a little bit on eggshells because of just the GoFundMe, the lawsuit on Melania, all of this. I mean,
No, I'll tell
Michael,
you straight up, right? Let's just be straight shooter about this.
yeah,
Michael is known to be slippery. And in my conversation with him, when I ask him some blunt questions, he's very strategic. A lot of people in the comments are like, well, why just asking a question? He's on a flow. And then Michael seems to be a very intelligent person and he seems very halted by what he's saying. He's very specific. He's very strategic. He knows this ecosystem. I do think there's folks just, I think very clearly there are people like Woodward and others. Woodward knew about Donald Trump lying to us about COVID, sat on it for a year. You know, so number one, let's be honest about it. There is a selfish profit motive that I think is very clear. I think there's also a protect myself motive. I have the goods. You won't touch me because if you touch me, I'll get this out. And then also could be we don't know. We don't know. But the thing with Michael is you're right. People are like, man, this is unethical. This is a bit sleazy. At the same time, he has the goods. He has the hundreds of hours of conversation. And maybe, even though I don't like his methods and it's unsavory, he could bring down Trump and MAGA and all these powerful people. And he's also now suing Melania. So maybe we use him for the greater good. That's kind of what people are juggling with right now. But I think all those things can be true. And he has to answer for why he did this email. All those things can be true, and you have to explain this email. That's my take.
100%. And the only difference that I want to just say between like the Woodwards and the Maggie Habermans, not that I'm defending them because I agree with you. I think it's all bullshit. I think if you're a journalist and you have information, I think you owe it as a journalist to bring that information and not use your job as a journalist to then collect it and then put it out later to make money on it. So I think that's all bullshit. The difference here is you actually to make it comparable is if Woodward would have been released, if we got an email right now released where Woodward is telling Trump to say these things about COVID, like, yes, I know you know about COVID, but don't tell the people because it's going to be bad, save it. And if you had Woodward coaching Trump and doing it, this is more like what we're seeing. It's one thing if we had an email from Epstein to Michael Wolff where he's saying, listen, I got this information, I'm going to blackmail him, or I'm going to use this to get an offer, and Michael Wolff is just like, hey, whatever, or whatever you want, and taking it in as a reporter and sucking it out. Yes, I'm here with you. But that email is from Michael Wolff to Epstein, and the email is literally a diagram. I mean, if this was a conspiracy case or a criminal case, I mean, he's dead to right because he's basically literally, conspiring and telling him how to go extort the next president of the United States with information that he has on him. I mean, that's.
I emailed him. Let's see if he responds. And it's a good time for Michael to release these tapes. He has them. Release them. You don't need money. I'm sure there can be any outlet or any just whiz kid who could set up
Well,
a website for you.
I'll give you a perfect example, Wash. And I'm not trying to pat myself or anything on the back. When I got arrested, I had an opportunity to make a lot of money because I found in my possession a video tape that my ex-partner, unbeknownst to me, in my iCloud took of an hour and a half dinner private dinner with me, Donald Trump, Don Jr., and some very maybe two, three other people, very powerful donors in Mar-a-Lago. And in that meeting is when I told him to get rid of the ambassador. He told to get her out of there, and we spoke about a lot of things. It's an hour and a half meeting. I got offered millions and millions and millions of dollars to be able to give it an exclusive to somebody or to do it. What I chose to do it is when I found the video, me and my attorney sat down. I'll never forget Joe Bondi. He said to me, "Love, are you trying to say with democracy, do the right thing for yourself, clear your chest, or are you trying to be the same person that you were and manipulate?" I said, "You know what? You're right, Joe. Release the tape." He took that tape and sent it that day to every news media outlet at the same time. ABC, CBS, CNN. There was no exclusive. There was no nothing. We put it all out there. And, I didn't make a penny on it. I didn't care about it. I wanted to make sure because I thought it was important for the world to hear Donald Trump's own voice, in his own face, talking about how he wants to get rid of the ambassador of the United States because of some donor out of the blue saying he should do it. So that's the difference. I could have kept that tape and made millions and millions, released it right before his impeachment and blew this whole thing up. But some people do it and some people do it for different reasons.
Small world. For those who are joining us late, Lev was actually reaching out. He was supposed to talk to Michael Wolff today, before this all came out, and I interviewed him. I think, gosh, it was. Wait a second, I'll tell you all. Every day, I interviewed November 10th, 2 days ago.
Oh,
Every day feels like a week.
yeah,
Um,
that's it.
so, let's see, Michael, if you're listening, go on your Substack, man. You have a Substack. That Substack is huge now. Just explain this. And then I still say, like I said before, the first time I talked to him, release the stuff, release it. It's time. And then when it comes to the Republicans, I want to ask you this question as we wrap up in the last final minutes. It seems increasingly clear to me, Lev, they can't hide from this. I remember, I was talking to Danielle couple hours ago, and I remembered Eric Swalwell. I think it was 2 weeks ago. We talked about this also. He went on Twitter and he said a Republican colleague texted him and alleged that eventually this is going to come out, and once it does, the entire house of cards is going to fall. Meaning a Republican realizes they're effed. All of them are effed because they're so far up in Trump's anus. He goes up, they go up, they go down. He goes down, they go down. How do Republicans spin out of this?
I really don't know. I mean, there. This is a tsunami that is keeps. It's just like a whirlwind that keeps going. I mean, everything you told me, Don Bacon, he was on my show, told me the same thing, even though he didn't vote for the 218 vote. But he said, "Love," he goes, as soon as they get that 218 pass, he goes, you're going to see over. His words to me, he thinks over 100 Republicans that will vote.
I've heard that number also.
That will vote for to have the Epstein files released. So I truly believe that there's a lot of people that want this to, and that's and Trump is feeling it. He's understanding it. And I think also from what I'm hearing, it's also screwing up, because look, even for him to call an insurrection, for him to go invade Venezuela, for him to do all of these radical, crazy things, he needs to have some major support from his base, from his people internally. And right now, that support is starting to dwindle in a lot of different cases, especially right now with the Epstein files. Just again, that's why you saw his tweet again. Again, he called it a hoax. I mean, I swear to you, I can't wait. We thank God, we already got some money raised. I'm going to be in Washington very soon. I promise you, I'm going to be making right now. Like I'll give you an example. Watch the simple things like that we should be doing right now is we should be flooding the halls of Congress next to each congressman and senator to printing out these emails, blowing them up and pasting them on the
Absolutely.
doorstep. We should have these. I mean, nonstop. We should have people outside as they're coming out with these emails saying, "Donald Trump explained to." I mean, these are simple things that should be gone because this is what they did. Do the same thing they did. Just think about what Marjorie Taylor Greene did when Hunter Biden was up there. She
I remember.
pictures of him, naked pictures of him standing up there. Why don't we have it all over the place right now?
Because they're not built like this. They're not made for this
Well, we are.
moment. They're not built
Well,
for
we
this
are.
fight. I
Well,
want to
I am.
remind you, and I'm
I'm
so
going
happy.
to.
I'm happy Daniel reminded me about this because we talked about it for when it happened. In the summer, Nancy Pelosi was asked on MSNBC by Chris Jansen about the Epstein files, and Nancy Pelosi said, "Well, that's not important. The American people don't really care about that. That's a distraction." I'm like, "What the f are you smoking? Over 75% of Americans care. This is the only thing Americans care about." And the only conclusion I could come to is she was trying to protect some powerful people. I'm sorry. Uh, and I said, and I believe you agree, I don't give a shit who's there. Democrat, liberal, progressive, celebrity, philanthropist, billionaire. If it is shown and proven that they raped girls or they were complicit, F them all. F them all.
100%.
I want all the information. I want all the names. I want all these people to explain themselves. And then furthermore, just that lack of political calculation. Like I've been saying it every time you and I've been talking, we said Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. This is his Achilles heel called Epstein and the economy. Now the economy proven that it's a weakness. Epstein, folks, it's the only issue that a majority of Americans agree on in 2025. Over 75% of Americans, probably the number is 80 now. Independent, Republican, MAGA, progressive, doesn't matter. They all want the Epstein files to be released. This is the thing. Like, if I'm sitting there, first of all, you want accountability, you want justice. But if you want to like take down a fascist regime, I will use any weapon at my disposal. And this is a righteous weapon. You can get accountability, and they're stuck. He is stuck. He it's literally his back is against the wall, Lev. I don't see how he can get out of this. He partied with them. He there's videos, there's emails, there's notebooks, there's Virginia Giuffre, there's all these girls, there's photos. Like I think they got him dead to rights.
And the biggest thing we're gonna unleash. That's why I can't wait to get Washington D.C. because I'm gonna be the biggest pain in the ass he's ever seen. Dan Bongino, until he comes out, and I know Dan, so I'm telling you, I'm telling you that's gonna be, and me and you are gonna have it on the show, and we're gonna talk about how we've been screaming at the top of our lungs because just think about it. Still nothing. And not only now Dan Bongino, but look who else has gone quiet. Cash Patel.
Oh, because he's really busy traveling on our taxpayer funds using
Exactly.
the
Using the private
$60 million
jets.
jet to go with his girlfriend and then go hunting. And then, yeah, I'm not making this up, folks. That's what Cash Patel did. He took that jet, lied about it, went and saw his honeypot girlfriend perform, and then just decided, let me go to a hunting lodge also with the same actual plane. Just these people are, I hope it all crumbles down on them. I hope there has to be accountability, Lev. We're so cynical. There
Ugh.
has to be accountability. There has to be. Too many too many poor people, too many poor black and brown folks get sent to jail for possession of drugs. So many people, they don't have the money. As you know, you've gone through this. My parents have gone through this to hire good attorneys. So many people have to do plea bargains. And then these guys, these rich billionaire pedophiles fail up again and again and again. I no, no more. Enough. Even if you don't go to jail, to have your name destroyed, to be stripped of a title, to be seen as a villain, to have your political career destroyed, and all the people who are complicit, the Mike Johnsons, the Cash Patels, the Dan Bonginos, I want them attached to Donald Trump. I want them attached to Epstein for the rest of their miserable life.
I am so with you, Raj, and this is part of my mission. This is exactly why I decided enough talk and go action and try to do something and travel and do. It's so funny. Right before we went on, I had a conference call because we've already, thank God, to our community raised some money to. So I wanted to go hire this powerful PR firm. I'm not going to mention their names yet. Eventually, I'm going to start exposing all of them because it's crazy. But I want to go hire this group that does all of this stuff. And they're like, "How quickly do you want to start? What do you? I want to go DC tomorrow." I was like, "I want to go there. I want to make sure we jump on there right away." And then after spending a half hour talking, they turned around and said, "Are you scared?" I go, "What do you mean, am I scared?" They go, "Well, after what happened with Charlie Kirk, and I don't know. This is a very scary environment to go do the message you want to go do." I said, "Well, do we have a choice?" I said, "If we don't do what we want to do, then what are we leaving?" So basically, I go, "No, I'm not scared. I'm going to do it." And then I looked around and I said, "Are you scared?" I said, it looks like you guys are scared. I said, just think about it. I said, Donald Trump has put us in a position where your job, you're worried about taking on a client right now that could probably make you a lot of money, is very controversial, is very, has a lot of breaking news in the most political sphere of the world that knows the president so closely, intimately, and you're scared to take me on because of what? Trump's going to go after you. And then, and he looked at me, he goes, I have to be honest with you. We have to make a business decision because of the environment we live. So so it's not just going out there and raising the money. No, it's like now I'm starting to realize, like, how do you even go higher? People are scared.
Law
People are
firms,
scared. Law
industries,
firms,
universities,
publicists,
celebrities,
yeah,
media. We've seen it. And
they're scared.
I've always said fascism, the red carpet for fascism is always laid out by industrialists. It happened in Nazi Germany, it happened in fascist Italy, happening in real time, folks. Look how they bent the knee. And they're all cowards and they all cave. But that doesn't mean we have to be cowards. We
Yeah.
have the majority. We have the numbers. There was a blue tsunami. Mamdani won. People boycotted. Jimmy Kimmel was reinstated. And I think the people's wrath, people's righteous rage, man, is going to increase. Democrats are pissed as hell that these 8 cowards, these centrists, caved. They're underestimating our rage. We have the numbers. We have the numbers, so we have to be loud. I'm telling you, man, the two cankles, the two Achilles cankles, Epstein, the economy. Epstein, the economy. He cannot escape Epstein. So put all the pressure. And the reason why some people, I'll be honest with you, folks. I think the reason why some powerful people aren't talking about it is because they're afraid of all the names that'll come out. And I am saying I don't give a shit if it's progressive, liberal, celebrity,
I'm with you,
humanitarian.
brother.
I don't care. If it's shown and proven that you're raping girls, you go down. You go down with the rest of them.
I am with you, and I'm going to be soon next to you in Washington, D.C., and soon people are going to see us. We are going to go. I'm telling you, I want me and you to interview Bongino. We're going to, that is my mission. Is that's supposed to be,
You will never talk to me.
we're
You will
going
never talk to me. Lev,
I
when are you on with Joy?
know.
When are you on with Joy?
Oh, I got to go in 30 minutes. I got to go get
All right.
ready,
All
actually.
right.
You
All
just
right. So,
reminded me.
Lev did me out with Joanne Reed. Go watch Joanne Reed show. This is Lev Parnas of Lev Remembers. His son's Aaron Parnas is breaking news. This is the left hook. There's about 2,100, almost 2,200 people watching. We broke down uh, the Epstein of it all and how we believe Trump is effed. And I don't think the Republicans can get out of this. I just don't. I think they're going to go all the way in and all the way down. And they deserve to go down. Adelita Grijalva is sworn in. Took about 2 months, but it's done. She should be the 218th vote. But the White House, for those who are joining us late, is pressuring Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace and even Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's see what happens. I reached out to Michael Wolff today, emailed him. Lev emailed him to explain this really disturbing, I think we agree, unethical email. Maybe he has an explanation. If he's watching, Michael, you've been on the show 3 times. Come back. I always try to be fair, but I always ask the questions. And Lev is going to be on again in about 30 minutes. For those who joined us late, this will be up in an hour or two on my website and Lev's website. No paywalls. Everything's free. I'm a terrible capitalist. If you have some money, Lev has 8,000 children. I have 500 children. Give us, we're independent. If not,
He keeps
time to
giving me
top.
some of his children to me. Don't forget.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If not, at least listen and share it. Just share it. It's free. There's no paywalls. Thank you all. Be kind, be informed, and please, oh please, don't be a fascist. And tell Joe I said hi.
I absolutely will. Thanks, Waj.
Later, man.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.